Before the rush of modern life, before engines roared and cities blazed with electric light, there was Constantinople, the beating heart of the Ottoman Empire, where east meets west, and every breath of morning air carries the scent of history itself. It is dawn. The marble domes of great mosques gleam softly under a sky painted in pale gold. The Bosphorus shimmers like liquid silver as the first fishermen push out their narrow boats, their oars dipping quietly into the still waters. In the winding alleys below, merchants stir in their shops, lanterns flickering to life one by one as the city slowly awakens. And you are part of this world, a simple merchant's apprentice, rising early to prepare for the day ahead. The air is cool against your skin as you step outside, your feet brushing against the worn cobblestones that have felt the footsteps of emperors and travelers alike. You breathe in deeply. The aroma of fresh bread from a nearby bakery mingles with the faint trace of burning incense carried on the breeze from a distant mosque. Today you will walk the great bazaars, hear the hum of trade spoken in a dozen tongues, and feel the life of a city where every stone holds a story. But for now, take a moment. Stand still. Listen to the quiet grace of a world on the edge of waking. This is Constantinople, and your day is about to begin. You sit cross-legged on a low wooden platform, the morning light filtering through a latticed window. Before you lies a modest spread. There is freshly baked pied, a soft oval flatbread still warm from the communal stone oven. Its surface is golden, dimpled from the baker's fingertips, and fragrant with a dusting of nigella seeds. Beside it rests a small clay bowl of white sheep's cheese, brined and crumbly, sharp enough to wake your senses with its first bite. A handful of green olives, glistening in the morning light, adds their smooth, salty tang, and tucked neatly beside the bread, a few slices of cucumber and ripe tomatoes, their flesh still cool from the night's air. If fortune has smiled upon you, there's a small dish of pekmez, a thick, dark grape molasses. You smear a bit onto the bread, the sweetness balanced by the tartness of the fruit, a humble delight that lingers gently on the tongue. And to drink, a warm cup of steaming herbal infusion, brewed from wild sage or dried mint, soothing and calming to the stomach. The great kahve houses, with their rich, dark coffee, will open later, but this early hour is for quiet simplicity. You eat slowly, each bite a familiar comfort against the coolness of the stone floor beneath you. Outside, the city stirs, and now, the streets call. You step out into the winding alleys of Constantinople's Fatih district, the very heart of the empire. The cool air carries the mingled scents of fresh bread, sea salt drifting from the nearby Golden Horn, and the faintest hint of jasmine blooming in hidden courtyards. The cobblestones beneath your feet are smooth from centuries of footsteps. Merchants pull open their wooden shutters, the creak of old iron hinges echoing through narrow lanes. Fabric stalls spill their colours onto the streets, rich velvets from Bursa, soft silks from Persia, coarse linens from the empire's farthest edges. Above you, grand stone arches frame your path, their surfaces worn smooth, but still standing strong. Ivy creeps along their sides, and the golden morning sun turns the great domes of the Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque into glowing monuments against the pale sky. The streets pulse with life now. You pass by a baker stacking fresh loaves of simit, the golden, ring-shaped bread encrusted with sesame seeds. He smiles faintly, offering a nod as the scent tempts you once more. Children chase one another through the narrow lanes, their laughter echoing off the stone walls. Elderly men sit on low stools, their worry beads clinking softly in their hands as they discuss matters far larger than themselves. Trade, politics, and distant wars in lands most will never see. And all around you, the sounds of the great city rise, 1,000 conversations in Turkish, Greek, Armenian, and Arabic, a place where cultures collide and histories intertwine beneath the shadow of towering minarets and ancient city walls. You pause for a moment at a high stone terrace overlooking the shimmering waters of the Bosphorus, that great silver thread connecting the continents. Boats glide across its surface like small birds, their sails catching the light breeze as fishermen cast their nets and traders prepare their goods for the busy day ahead. In this moment, with the golden sun warming your face and the vast city stretching out before you, you feel it. This is not just a city. It is the very center of a world, alive and breathing beneath your feet. You carry onward, following the current of life that flows through the winding alleys toward the pulsing heart of the city, the great Kapalı Çarşı, the Grand Bazaar, a world unto itself, hidden beneath vaulted stone and timber, where the empire's wealth gathers like a river meeting the sea. You step beneath its ancient archways and at once the air changes. It is warmer here, alive with the rich scent of exotic spices, sumac, cinnamon, cardamom, and clove, blending into a fragrance so familiar, it seems to cling to the very stones. Lamps hang low from thick wooden beams, their golden light casting soft halos above crowded stalls. The air hums with life. Merchants call out in practiced tones, their voices melodic and welcoming, trained to draw you closer with promises of rare goods and fair bargains. Their hands sweep over treasures, silks dyed deep crimson and royal blue, hammered copper trays etched with swirling calligraphy, delicate glass lamps glowing with fractured light, and rows of intricate ceramic tiles, each one a fragment of artistry frozen in time. You pass a perfumer's stall, and the scent envelops you. Rosewater, sandalwood, musk, and ambergris. Tiny glass bottles filled with liquids more valuable than gold glimmer in the soft light. Next to it, a jeweler works carefully over a delicate filigree bracelet, his hands steady despite years of toil. You pause by a tea vendor who grins warmly and offers you a small clay cup of steaming apple tea, sweet and fragrant. Its warmth flows through your fingers as you sip, watching the crowd move like a great river through the maze of corridors. Traders from every corner of the empire pass by, men in embroidered turbans, veiled women moving gracefully between stalls, young apprentices hauling sacks of spices or fine fabrics on their shoulders. And above it all, the high arched ceilings rise like the inside of a great cathedral, their faded frescoes still whispering stories from centuries long past. The echo of footsteps and voices rolls through the cavernous halls, a symphony of commerce and culture. You move onward through the jeweller's alley, the glint of silver and gold catching your eye. Then through the spice market, where mounds of vibrant saffron, turmeric, and paprika sit in neat pyramids, their colours glowing like captured sunlight. Every sense is alive. Your eyes dazzled by colour, your ears filled with the cadence of unfamiliar languages and familiar haggling, your nose drawn toward every fragrant corner. And yet, even amidst this vibrant chaos, there is peace, a harmony woven through the diversity. It is a living tapestry, this bazaar, a place where the wealth of empires and the hopes of humble traders meet beneath a roof older than memory. As the morning sun climbs higher, its rays slip through high, narrow windows, casting beams of light that fall like blessings upon the heads of those below. You take a slow breath, absorbing it all, the scent, the sounds, the warmth of the tea still lingering on your tongue. And here, in this grand living heart of the empire, you think, The day is just beginning. The morning's business fades into the hush of midday. The sun now sits high above, casting its golden light over domes and courtyards, making the marble glow as if lit from within. The streets slow, and the city takes a breath, as if pausing between the weight of its glorious past and the quiet promise of its unfolding day. You find yourself drawn toward one of the great wonders of the city, the magnificent Hagia Sophia. Its colossal dome rises gracefully into the heavens, a marvel of architecture that has stood for nearly 1,000 years. The stone beneath your feet feels cooler here, shaded by the towering structure that has witnessed emperors rise and fall, and yet remains eternal. You slip off your sandals at the threshold and step into the grand interior. The air is cool and heavy with history. Light filters through high windows in thin golden beams, dust motes drifting lazily in their path. The faint scent of aged incense clings to the ancient stones, and your footsteps echo softly across the vast polished marble floor. Here, time seems to move differently. You sit quietly near one of the great columns, the stone cool beneath your hands. Around you, men and women sit in hushed contemplation, their prayers rising in the stillness like the softest breath. Outside, the voice of the muezzin calls once again, his voice pure and steady, carried on the warm midday breeze. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The sound rolls gently through the open courtyards and over the tiled rooftops, blending perfectly with the peaceful rhythm of the day. The walk is slow and unhurried, the city's pace softened under the warmth of the midday sun. The wide promenade along the Golden Horn opens before you, its stone path bathed in sunlight. Traders rest beneath shaded awnings. Fishermen lounge by their boats, their nets spread out like great wings drying in the sun. The breeze that rises off the water carries with it the salty fragrance of the sea, mingled with the faint scent of grilled fish from a small riverside vendor. You pause at a shaded bench beneath a flowering almond tree, its pale blossoms trembling gently in the breeze. Nearby, a young boy plays a soft tune on a wooden knee flute, the delicate melody rising and falling like the waves themselves. Before you, the waters of the Bosphorus glimmer like a sheet of liquid glass, broken only by the slow passage of fishing boats and the distant silhouette of a merchant galley making its way toward the Black Sea. For a long while, you sit in silence, watching the rhythm of the water, feeling the warmth of the sun on your face and the cool breath of the Bosphorus at your back. This is a peace few know, a moment between the demands of the day and the coming labours of the afternoon. And so, you think quietly, even in the grandest of cities, it is the simplest moments that hold the deepest meaning. The hours of stillness pass, and as the sun tilts westward, life stirs again in the great city. The golden warmth of afternoon breathes new energy into the streets, and Constantinople begins to hum once more with the rhythm of its people. You rise from your quiet seat by the Bosphorus and make your way back toward the heart of the city. The streets that rested in the midday heat are now alive with movement. Artisans return to their workshops, small spaces tucked behind carved wooden doors and stone archways. You pass a coppersmith's forge, the air rich with the scent of heated metal. Sparks leap from the anvil as the master and his apprentice work in practiced silence, shaping intricate trays and coffee pots destined for homes and palaces alike. Nearby, the rhythmic tap of a weaver's loom drifts through an open window, its wooden frame creaking gently with each practiced movement. Inside, colourful threads stretch across the loom like rivers of crimson and gold. Fine fabrics take shape under skilled hands, destined for the grand markets of the city or the lavish halls of distant governors. You wander onward, drawn by the growing murmur of voices and the faint, irresistible aroma of freshly brewed coffee. And there it is, the Kahvehane, the coffee house. Modest yet inviting, with low wooden tables arranged beneath the shade of a flowering vine. The air is rich with the scent of roasted coffee beans and the sweet fragrance of rosewater-scented tobacco, curling softly from the long, slender stems of water pipes. You take a seat, and before you is placed a small, elegant porcelain cup, its rim delicate and warm to the touch. Inside, a thick, dark brew swirls gently. This is no hurried drink. This is a ritual. You sip slowly, the bitter richness of the coffee softened by the cool, sweet sip of a glass of water placed thoughtfully beside it. Around you, voices rise in thoughtful debate and soft laughter. Merchants discuss the changing prices of silk and spices. Poets recite verses about lost loves and distant lands. An elder tells a tale of the empire's founding days, his words flowing as smoothly as the smoke drifting through the air. For a while, time seems to pause again. The worries of the day drift away with each sip, and the conversation becomes as much a part of the afternoon as the golden light slanting through the latticed windows. Outside, the streets are bathed in a soft amber glow. Children chase hoops along the alleyways, and the final transactions of the day take place beneath the colourful canopies of the bazaar. In the distance, the muezzin's voice rises once more, his call to the Asr prayer rolling gently over the rooftops. And as you sit back, your cup warm in your hands and the city alive before your eyes, you realise that this quiet harmony of labour, tradition, and simple joy is what makes Constantinople the true jewel of the world. The sun lowers itself behind the horizon, bathing the great domes and minarets in a final golden embrace before slipping quietly into night. The sky blushes in hues of rose and deep violet, and the city, for a brief moment, holds its breath in the beauty of twilight. You rise from your seat at the coffee house, stepping back into the streets that glow now with the soft flicker of oil lamps and gently swinging lanterns. Their warm light dances across the whitewashed walls and cobbled pathways, turning the city into a mosaic of soft shadows and golden halos. The air is cooler now, carrying the faint scent of baked chestnuts roasting over small fires and the subtle sweetness of burning amber incense rising from open windows. Merchants begin to close their stalls, drawing thick curtains over the day's labours. Yet even as the shops grow quiet, the streets take on a new kind of life, one of reflection and peace. You make your way toward the mosque once more. The air hums with the calm reverence of the Maghrib prayer. Lamps sway gently in the courtyard as soft voices rise and fall in unison, their words carried upward into the night sky. Standing there, you watch the silhouettes of worshippers bowing in perfect harmony beneath the open heavens, the grand arches of the mosque framing them like a painting brought to life. The great dome above seems to hold the sky itself in place, and for a moment, everything feels still, timeless. You take one final walk through the dimly lit streets. The shops are shuttered, their doors closed tight against the night breeze. But from behind those walls, you hear the gentle murmur of families sharing their last meals of the day, soft laughter, the lullabies of mothers soothing their children to sleep. Above, the stars reveal themselves one by one, scattered across the deep indigo sky. They shine bright and unchallenged, their light reflecting faintly off the calm waters of the Bosphorus, where the last of the fishing boats drift slowly toward home. You find your way back to your modest dwelling, the air inside cool and quiet, You lay upon your simple bedding, the weight of the day slowly melting from your shoulders. Through the small open window, the night air drifts in, cool, clean, carrying with it the distant scent of the sea and the comforting warmth of smouldering hearths. And as your eyes grow heavy, you listen to the soft breath of the sleeping city, to the ancient rhythms that have carried it through centuries. And you know, as the lantern lights flicker their last and the stars keep silent watch above, that you have lived another day in the heart of the world. Thank you for walking these ancient streets with me and experiencing a day in the life of old Constantinople. If this journey brought you calm, wonder, or simply helped you drift a little closer to sleep, I invite you to leave a like and subscribe for more peaceful travels through time. Until we meet again, may your nights be restful and your dreams forever wander among the echoes of history. Have you ever wondered what it's like to wake up at a time when coffee was still a controversial drink and the sound of a rooster meant more than your phone's alarm clock? Well, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let's drift back to the 16th century, into the sprawling heartlands of the mighty Ottoman Empire. But don't expect silk robes and golden platters. No, my friend. Today, you wake up as a humble Ottoman peasant, and your first task, surviving breakfast. The morning. That tender space between the last shreds of dream and the hard reality of another day's labor. The rooster has crowed, loudly and directly outside your thin wooden door, as if he's got a personal vendetta against you. No matter, you're already awake. The floor beneath your straw mat creaks as you sit up. No soft feather beds here, just a roughly woven mat and a blanket that smells faintly of last winter's dampness. A chill hangs in the air, even though the sun is already casting golden fingers over the rolling Anatolian fields. Your one-room mud-brick home is modest, to say the least. A low wooden shelf holds a few prized possessions. A battered copper plate, a clay cup, and a small jar of olive oil. Nearly empty, as always. Your wife, or perhaps your mother, depending on which part of life you're trudging through, is already up, stoking the small hearth with dry twigs. The scent of smoke and ash fills the air. No firewood to waste on a roaring blaze. The embers will do just fine. Now, on to breakfast. Brace yourself. It's going to be a simple affair. The staple of your morning meal is yufka, a thin, dry flatbread that was baked days ago and has gone stiff enough to serve as an improvised weapon if needed. But this bread isn't meant to be enjoyed as is. No. You soften it with a dash of water, or if you're feeling luxurious, a sprinkle of olive oil before warming it slightly over the dying embers. With practiced hands, you break the yufka into smaller pieces and dip it into a shallow bowl of tahana soup, a tangy mixture made from dried yogurt, fermented grains, and crushed vegetables. It's sour, slightly creamy, and just hearty enough to convince your stomach that life is worth enduring for another day. No sugar-laden cereals or golden fried eggs here. A boiled egg is a rarity, something reserved for sick days or religious holidays. And speaking of sugar, it's practically mythical. Honey, if you're lucky and a wandering beekeeper passed through recently, but more likely your sweet craving will have to settle for a dried fig or two, leathery and intensely sweet, tucked away from last season's harvest. And now, for the drink. But here's the twist. It's the early 16th century, and while coffee is beginning to cause a stir in the empire's grand cities, it hasn't quite trickled down to your humble village. The imam is still debating whether the new bitter black drink is a sin or salvation. So, No steamy cup of cave for you, at least not yet. Instead, you'll have sherbet, a watered-down concoction of fruit syrup if you have any left, or more likely, just cool well water fetched before dawn. There's a certain dignity in that simplicity, you know. Water that tastes faintly of the clay jug it's stored in, cool against your cracked lips, refreshing even without ice or fancy infusions. And as you sit on the low wooden stool by the doorway, tearing off a piece of softened yufka and watching the sun creep higher over the hills, you take a moment to appreciate the calm. The air smells faintly of wild thyme and burning twigs. Somewhere in the distance, a shepherd's flute sings a mournful tune, and the village dogs are already barking at nothing in particular. Sure, breakfast might not fill you to the brim, but it carries the quiet satisfaction of survival. You're not just eating food. You're participating in a daily ritual shared by countless others across the empire's vast stretches of land. From the high plateaus of Anatolia to the green hills of the Balkans, this simple meal connects you to a world far larger than your little village. Simple, isn't it? You might think as you wipe your fingers clean on the hem of your worn tunic. And yes, it is simple. But sometimes simplicity carries a flavour all its own, one we've long forgotten in the age of avocado toasts and oat milk lattes. And so, with your stomach only half convinced it's satisfied, you stand, stretch your aching back, and prepare for the real work of the day. But that's a tale for another hour. For now, lie back, close your eyes, and let the thought settle in. That even in the humblest of times, beneath the weight of empires and the sweep of history, life found its way through shared bread and the quiet comfort of a morning breeze. Now that your humble breakfast has settled, or at least attempted to, you step out into the waking world. And it's a busy one. Remember, the Ottoman Empire isn't built on the domes of mosques or the swords of janissaries alone. The village paths are little more than hardened earth, baked in summer and slick with mud when the rains come. They twist between low stone walls, built not for grandeur, but simply to keep goats from wandering where they shouldn't. The air carries the mingled scents of livestock, wood smoke, and earth, rich and honest, though not always pleasant. Houses here are modest, pressed close together as if huddling for warmth against the chill of harsh winters and the loneliness of wide, empty lands. Their walls are made of mud brick or rough stone, plastered over with a lime wash that flakes off in the heat. The roofs are flat, covered in wooden beams and packed earth, sometimes sprouting tufts of grass where seeds took hold. Children run atop them, laughing as the day cools. Inside, the homes are no larger than a single room, sometimes shared with the animals in colder seasons. A simple hearth sits at the centre, blackened by years of smoke, the only source of warmth and cooking. There are no glass windows here, just small wooden shutters to keep out the rain and curious eyes. In the evenings, the faint glow of oil lamps flickers through the tiny openings, painting soft golden halos in the night. The streets themselves aren't truly streets, more like winding alleys between homes. You can cross the entire village in a matter of minutes, but each corner holds a familiar face. Old men sit on low stools near doorways, their beards long and their eyes half-lidded as they chew on stories older than you. Women gather near the communal well, their voices rising and falling in a melodic rhythm as they draw water and share the day's gossip. It's a tight community. Everyone knows everyone. Privacy is a luxury you've never really tasted. Joys are shared just as sorrows are. Birth celebrated with hand-clapped songs and poor man's feasts. Deaths mourned with soft weeping that drifts on the night air like incense smoke. The environment itself is a mixture of beauty and hardship. Towering mountains loom in the distance, their peaks dusted with snow even in summer. The fields stretch endlessly, their colours shifting with the seasons, from the tender green of spring barley to the burnished gold of autumn wheat. Wildflowers, bright splashes of red and yellow, dot the meadows, and the soft hum of bees is a constant companion near the village edges. But life here is not gentle. The winters bite hard, the winds cutting through the valleys like sharpened knives. Summers are dry, the soil cracking beneath your feet as you search for a little mercy from the sun. And yet, even in the harshest days, there is beauty in the simplicity, in the way the night sky stretches endlessly above you, unpolluted by smoke or city lights, thick with stars so bright you could almost pluck them from the heavens. The people reflect their environment, weathered, resilient, and shaped by the land. Faces are lined far earlier than their years suggest, and hands are rough from endless toil. But their eyes still hold a spark. Humor is a survival tool here, sharper than any blade. Witty jests pass between tired workers, and even the harshest days end with a chuckle shared over a cracked cup of thin boza, that strange, slightly sour drink made from fermented grains. Children run barefoot without a care, their laughter echoing through the hills long after the sun has disappeared. They play simple games with stones and sticks, their imaginations far richer than their possessions. And as for you sometimes envy them, that freedom from the weight of taxes, the burden of fields and father's debts. As the evening cools, a calm descends. Smoke rises in soft spirals from the hearths, the smell of lentil stew and flatbread drifting lazily through the air. Somewhere nearby, a shepherd's flute plays a haunting melody, one that speaks of long-forgotten loves and lands far beyond the horizon. And in that moment, standing barefoot on the packed earth beneath the vast Ottoman sky, you feel it, that deep, quiet connection to the land, the people, and the history that surrounds you. A life of hardship, yes, but also one of shared moments, enduring friendships, and a simple kind of peace we've long since forgotten. So as the stars begin their nightly procession above, and the world around you slips into slumber, take one last breath of that cool night air. The earth beneath your feet is ancient, the sky above eternal, and you, just a humble soul passing through it all, one day at a time. No. It stands tall because of backs like yours, bent in the fields, calloused from labour, and forever chasing a harvest that always feels one season too far away. The sun is rising higher now, burning off the morning mist that clings to the rolling fields. You stretch your arms wide, feeling the tight pull of muscles already weary from yesterday. The day's duties depend on where you are in the empire and, more importantly, the whims of the landowner to whom you owe your loyalty, or rather, your taxes. If you're a riaya, a tax-paying subject of the Sultan, your fate is tied to the soil. You'll spend your day as a chifchi, a farmer, not by grand design, but by the simple fact that your father did the same, and his father before him. The land isn't yours, of course. It belongs to a Sipahi, one of the cavalry elite, who rarely sets foot on these fields, but is always sure to collect his share of your toil when the tax collector rides in twice a year. Today, it's the wheat fields that call you. The grain stands tall, golden and heavy-headed, swaying gently in the morning breeze. You grab your sickle, its blade dull but serviceable, and join the line of villagers already at work. There's no idle conversation, just the rhythmic swish of metal through stalks and the low grunt of effort. If you're lucky, today will pass without the oppressive heat descending too early. But this is Anatolia, and luck is a rare visitor. By midday, the sun blazes overhead, your tunic clinging to your skin, the back of your neck burnt red despite the cloth you've tied around it. Is it any wonder, you muse silently, that our grandmothers warned us against cursing the sun? It's vengeful, that one. When the noon prayer call rings faintly from the village mosque, there's a brief pause. You wipe the sweat from your brow, crouch in the meagre shade of a fig tree, and take a sip of water from your clay flask. The figs hanging above you are still green, weeks away from ripening. You try not to stare at them too long. If it's winter or you live closer to the forests, your day looks different. You might be gathering firewood, trudging through frost-hardened paths with numb fingers and a rope-drawn sled creaking behind you. Or perhaps you're mending broken tools in the village square. The hammers clang a sharp contrast to the cold silence of the season. For some, the day's work is in the bustling bazaars, if you're fortunate enough to live near a larger town, selling simple wares, woven baskets, goat's cheese wrapped in vine leaves, or dried herbs gathered from the hillsides. Bartering is an art form, and you've learned that a good story can raise the price of even the most ordinary goods. But for most, it's the endless cycle of the fields. Planting in spring, tending through the long summer, harvesting under the relentless autumn sky. And between it all, the taxes. Always the taxes. You remember the figures well, the osher, the tithe taken from every harvest, the avaras, the emergency tax levied when the empire's wars dragged on too long, and of course the endless little payments, fees for grazing rights, fees for market stalls, even fees for using the communal well. It makes you wonder how much of your day is spent working for your own survival, and how much for the coin purses of men you'll never meet. Yet even in this hard life there are moments. The shared loaf of warm bread passed between hands at midday, the cool splash of water as you wash your face in the stream after hours in the dust, the laughter of children running barefoot through the fields, their giggles rising above the hum of cicadas. Simple joys, you think again. And isn't that what life has always been about? As the sun begins to dip low in the sky, the work slows. The fields stand half-harvested, the promise of more labour waiting tomorrow. You haul your tired body back toward the village, your sickle hanging loosely by your side. The dogs greet you first, followed by the faint familiar smell of stew simmering over the hearth. And though the aches in your back feel eternal, you take comfort in this. Today, like so many before it, is done. And in that, there's a quiet kind of triumph. The day's heat lingers faintly in the air, but the harshness of labour has faded. You gather a small towel, worn smooth with use, and make your way toward the village hammam. The bathhouse is not grand like those in the Empire's great cities, but here, within its humble stone walls, there is a sanctuary beyond the weight of toil and hardship. You enter quietly. The heavy wooden door creaks gently, releasing a warm mist scented faintly with rosewater and burning herbs. The air is thick, the stone floors damp beneath your feet. In the central chamber, the marble glows softly under the flickering light of oil lamps. Steam rises gracefully from the heated stone platform at the centre, curling like a living thing toward the domed ceiling above. Without words, you find your place among the others. The sounds here are hushed, only the occasional splash of warm water being poured from copper basins, the soft sighs of relief as tired bodies relax beneath the soothing heat. With practiced movements, you rinse the dust and sweat of the day from your skin. The water, drawn from great stone basins, runs warm across your shoulders, washing away not just the dirt, but the burdens of a long day. You sit back, letting the heat sink deep into your tired muscles, your eyes half closed as you breathe in the calming scent of the herbs that linger in the air. In this place, there is no need for conversation. The silence is complete, peaceful. Each man lost in his own thoughts, each heart beating in quiet rhythm beneath the vaulted stone. Time slows here. The worries of harvests, debts, and distant wars seem to dissolve into the swirling mist. When you emerge from the hammam, your skin feels lighter, your body cleansed. And now, the call comes. From the village mosque, the voice of the muezzin rises, clear, steady, and filled with serenity. The adhan echoes gently through the fading light, calling the faithful to prayer. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. The village seems to pause as the sacred words flow through the air like a soft wind. Doors open, footsteps quiet. You follow the well-trodden path toward the mosque, its modest minaret silhouetted against the evening sky, painted in soft strokes of lavender and gold. Inside, the cool stone floor greets your bare feet. The prayer rows are simple but clean, the scent of old prayer mats mingling with the faint fragrance of burning incense. You stand shoulder to shoulder with your neighbors, men you have worked beside, laughed with, endured hardship with. And in this moment, all are equal before the divine. The Imam's voice is calm and measured, his recitation flowing like a gentle river, each word carrying the weight of centuries. You bow, you prostrate, your forehead pressed against the earth, the same earth that has sustained you, the same earth to which all return. In these moments, the worries of the world fall silent. The soil beneath your feet, the sky above your head, all feels perfectly balanced. You are small beneath the vastness of creation, yet held gently within its embrace. When the prayer ends, you remain seated for a while longer, eyes closed, the last words of the dua lingering on your lips. Peace settles over your heart like a soft blanket. Whatever the day has taken from you, it no longer matters. In this serenity, there is a promise that tomorrow brings new mercy, new strength. As you step out once more into the cool night air, the stars have fully emerged. Their silent brilliance lights your way home. And so, the world exhales. The fires have quieted, the fields rest in silence, and above you, the endless sky unfolds its velvet tapestry of stars. Night has come, and with it, the simple grace of rest. You walk the familiar path back to your home. The earth beneath your feet feels cooler now, the sharp heat of the day replaced by a soft, lingering warmth from the sun-kissed soil. The village is hushed, save for the occasional creak of a door, or the low murmur of a final whispered prayer. Shadows stretch long and gentle across the walls, and the breeze carries the faintest scent of wild herbs stirred by the night air. Your home greets you with its humble comfort. The embers in the hearth glow faintly, a soft orange heart pulsing in the dim light. The room is still warm, the scent of burnt wood and lingering traces of tonight's lentil stew mixing into something deeply familiar, something that feels like safety. You lay out your simple bedding, just a straw mat and a folded cloth to soften the ground beneath you. The aches in your shoulders and back are familiar companions by now, dull and steady reminders of a life shaped by honest labor. But even the pain feels distant tonight, softened by the warmth of the bath and the peace of evening prayer. Outside, the world moves gently towards sleep. You can hear it, the soft rustle of leaves, the rhythmic chirping of crickets hidden in the grass, the far-off bark of a lone village dog standing watch against the silent night. Somewhere, a baby cries softly before being soothed by a mother's lullaby, her voice a low hum that blends with the sounds of the earth itself. Lying back, you stare at the low ceiling, the wooden beams dark against the faint glow of the night outside. Through the small opening of the shutter, a sliver of starlight finds its way in. You turn your head toward it, eyes growing heavier with each passing moment. Tomorrow will come, just as this day did, with its worries, its labours, its quiet joys. But that is for another sunrise. Tonight, you are at peace. Your breath slows. The air feels cooler with each inhale, your body melting into the earth beneath you. And as your eyelids grow heavy, the distant hum of the night wraps around you like a soft, unseen blanket. Above, the stars keep their silent vigil, and below, you drift gently into sleep, held by the earth, cradled by the night, and for a few perfect hours, free of burden. And so our journey ends, for now. You've walked the warm paths of the village, felt the weight of a humble day's labour, tasted the simplicity of bread and water, and stood beneath the endless silent sky of the autumn night. In this small window of time, you've lived a life far from our modern world, yet filled with a quiet beauty all its own. Thank you for joining me on this peaceful journey back through history. I hope it brought you a moment of calm, a touch of wonder, and perhaps a deeper appreciation for the simple lives that came before us. If you enjoyed this narration, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more stories that help you drift off into the past. Until we meet again, may your nights be peaceful and your dreams carry you gently through the ages.